tie shop. What do you think? The two yellow ties. Magnus on his way in. Hard to make the opening first move when Magnus isn't there at the board, right?
And what move do you think Gary will choose?
E4. Best by test.
He's consulting Magnus.
Is it as shocking for you as this for me that A4 and Rook A3 has become a thing? I mean, like,
I
what?
had someone play they did A5, Rook A6 against me.
No.
Yeah, and the first time I saw
Cheeky.
it, I was like, come on.
Cheeky.
And I did not win, Yasser.
How frustrating. That's the worst.
And handshake there from Gary to Gukesh.
No,
Maybe we're going to see maybe we'll see something strange like A3, C3.
By Magnus, really.
Magnus really likes to experiment. Maybe we even see F4.
Now remember, in their rapid game, Magnus was white and wait a minute. It was Magnus was black and had made that wonderful sacrifice of the exchange, and he had the two bishops, but he let Gukesh off the hook. Will he be thinking about that first game and how he let him escape?
Well, no unconventional move. But
Knight
to
F3.
F3 played.
Solid. And the knight is still on F3. I don't think the clocks have been started yet.
Yep. The bell has sounded.
And he keeps the knight on F3.
It does.
Knight F3.
D5 played G3. Now this one is a resi. Knight C6, D4.
According to Nimzovich, Knight C6, question mark, D4 black is worse.
Are you quoting Nimzovich?
Yeah. And I just thought it's so hilarious because black has actually made, two incredibly reasonable moves. And then he's just like, worse.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
And,
Knight H4. Now that's inspired.
Bishop comes out to G4.
Bishop to G4.
And
I assume you want to play H3.
Will you start questioning that bishop? No.
No.
E6. Okay, but it has to be.
Why did we put our knight on H4? That was a question that Gukesh also asks. Don't you just lose the tempo?
Right. This is my understanding. If you let the light square bishop out,
yes,
you've got to harass it. So H3.
He's done it. He's done it.
And now
H3.
the knight comes back.
But that's, I don't know who got the best of that, but it does seem like a waste of time. What has happened, knight H4 back to F3. C4. Okay, it looks like a Catalan. Except it's not, because this bishop is not on C8. It's actually on H5, very, very useful. And I would say black is actually just fine.
Knight comes to C3.
It's almost, no, not really Queen's Gambit, decline-ish. Knight E4 strikes me as a move that you'd like to play, not necessarily because you want to play F7, F5, but because you might want to play bishop E3 and rook E8.
Well, also,
knight E4.
If you don't go knight E4, I was looking at possibilities of going knight E5
yourself
with the white pieces as well. And one of the things with having this bishop on H5 with this particular pawn structure is if you visualize like a knight coming to E5, there are ideas of going F4 followed by G4 and trapping this bishop.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Knight E4 on the board, and from black's point of view, again, not necessarily playing for F7, F5, but definitely playing for bishop F6, rook E8, and keeping your pieces in the center of the board. Very, very good idea. And the move you mentioned, knight E5.
And now this is the question, do you take on C3 or do you reinforce that knight with F5?
Right. Personally, I take on C3 and I take on E5, and then I play, I would play knight takes C3, B takes C3, take on E5, take on E5, and then follow it up with C6, so that
well, we're going to see this on the board. It's been played.
just as that was the prescription. And then I would quickly play f6 to avoid what you were saying.
Right. But
You want to play f4 and g4 and f5 and get me. I know you.
Yes. But can I be sneaky about it?
No.
Can I go Yeah, because I wanted to go g4 first. But okay, f4, f6.
You could definitely, yes, as expected, f6, very, very important move. You don't want to see your bishop getting hemmed in by g4 and f5.
Yeah.
So we have f6, and Magnus is being asked a very salient question. What are you going to do? If you allow black to capture on e5, you're not going to like the resulting pawn structure. And he's done his g4.
And now bishop to f7. I love bishop f7, controlling the e6 square, so there's no chance of white ever setting up a pawn chain on the light squares.
Exactly. Bishop g6 would have only invited f5 followed by e6. And so Magnus, very reluctantly, I want to say, it's not the type of move you really want to play as white. e5 takes f6. Bishop takes f6 for me is an automatic, but Gukesh is just thinking about a check, an in-between chain. He liked it.
I love this position for black. I feel like white has pushed way too hard and left behind some weak squares. The pawn, sorry, there's no pawn. The square on e4 is weak. The e line in general is just very weak.
The c3 pawn is, this is a nasty move because you're essentially provoking f5 and the dark squares. You drop back with the bishop and then quickly play rook to e8. Although, by the way, was that well timed? I might have just brought my rook to e8. Maybe bishop g6 was asking a bit too much out of the position.
Okay, but I think you just have to accept that you've done what you've done.
Well,
bishop goes back to f7.
And then I'll go g5.
And g5, and then...
And I start to ask some probing questions.
Right. The bishop can come back to d6.
King will probably drop back in that case. We're looking at a position where the bishop moves to f7, the pawn goes to g5, and maybe on a good day I get to play g5 and g6. And who knows, the black king could suddenly be vulnerable.
Do you think that Gukesh, he's a very aggressive player, and I suddenly saw another possibility, like the rook can slide over to e8.
You think he will sacrifice his queen?
No, the whole point is to go bishop d6.
Okay, so
you want to go rook a e8. This is an unbelievable resource. Like rook a e8.
I'll take a bishop.
And then you go bishop d6, check.
I'll move my king.
Maybe we should put this up while the players are thinking.
Sure.
Okay, bishop f7. That was way more natural.
Okay, just show us the analysis, what you had
and
in
then
mind.
Bishop
King
d6,
g1.
and now wherever you go, queen e5.
Ooh, but I do have. They're playing quickly.
Okay, let's.
Unfortunately, that sacrifice would not, I don't think, pan out. By the way, bishop went back to f7, bishop f4. We got a trade, and I think Magnus is going to be a little bit relieved. This is not a great ending for Magnus, but it's not a worse ending either. Before the move bishop g6, I think that Gukesh had to pull rook to d8, and on a good day, now you can kind of bring your king. You can go bishop to f3.
C4
maybe
is
go
coming.
for c4. Maybe you could actually get rid of your backward e pawn. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be great news for Magnus. So white is simply doubles. Sorry,
King.
rook f4.
Keeping an eye over the d4 square, so d5, d4. And again, if I can get my king, well, to f4, my bishop to f3, I might have a little pull here for white. Are the clocks a factor?
They're nothing troubling for the time being. Gukesh has 1 minute and 45 seconds, whereas Magnus, he has a 45-second lead. He's on 2.5 minutes. And c5 is a nice move, getting ready to slide the rook over to the A line. But the rook comes up to a5 and starts eyeballing the pawn on the c5. Magnus is relentless.
I wanted to ask, was the move c7, c6 mistimed? Because the structure, black's queenside structure was really, really solid. Suddenly it feels a little porous. I'm ready to play rook takes c5. maybe on a good day, c4. You go rook c8. I'll go c4, and I'll be asking some very unpleasant questions. That bishop is eyeballing the pawn, and b5. But let's pause our analysis and throw it to Poland.
We promised you a treat, and we have one for you. We have the 13th world champion here in the studio with us, Gary. Gary, welcome to the show. Good to see you once again. You're the mastermind behind the Grand Chess Tour, which is changing. We have so much new talent in it. Tell us a bit about that.
Look, it's great news that we have Magnus as the oldest player. So I think that tells you everything. And also, Grand Chess Tour is the best illustration that the game of chess is not dead. So all these doomsayers who predicted the end of the game, machines will kill it. No, there's more interest now. More people can watch it. You know, you can just follow the game. You don't even have to wait for us to make a commentary, so you can look at the screen. And again, numbers do not lie. So they see more and more people joining, and it's a great fighting tournament. So there's so many great games, and I think it's even before I look at the chessboard, I could look at the players. I could see a lot of fighting spirit. That's good. That's phenomenal. And young players, they hear, and in every game you can expect something. Even blunders.
Absolutely.
We saw Magnus blundered, but again, it's part of the show.
Yes.
It's a spectacle, and while there's a lot of disappointments. You made a bad move, but. No matter who wins at the chessboard, chess wins and the public wins. And we are chess fans. We also win.
You picked up quite a good game to make the first move for a former.
I didn't pick. I was asked.
Somebody picked it for you.
Yes.
How special is Gukesh?
Look, I mean, it's if you are making so much progress at such early age, and also I think it's his big advantage is that he can manage to play. Without diminished strengths under pressure. Because what we saw in the candidates, a lot of pressure, and we know Fabi
collapsed.
This
pressure,
is
unfortunately.
not first time. But I think remember a game with I think was Swidler. This is when he just did in Moscow. When he just, did Karyakin eventually.
Yes.
Well, so there's the penultimate round. So when he was winning, just as rook and
he
bishop.
Was in contention.
Yes. Absolutely. So I think it's something is just and even though they missed it, I remember this is I watched this is the last game and I think he's you can feel that he's probably relaxed. He was absolutely winning, and then Nepo kept kicking, and somehow he still found many good moves, but. Just didn't see the simple win, which is, by the way, interesting here. I could see him, just trembling, everybody, you have thousands people on the internet shouting, "Oh, we need to check."
play,
and he missed it. So and Gukesh survived. So just he was a bit lucky, but it's in some games. But he also missed probably win against. He lost the winning game against Alireza. So that's why. It's happened.
It balances out.
Exactly. He's very, very balanced. He's very, very balanced. And just by the way, look at this game.
Let's look at this game, What's happening in this one? Both players under 1 minute, 37 seconds for Magnus, 14 for Gukesh. It's usually a Magnus type of advantage, right?
Advantage? You say it's advantage?
I
There's
so.
two pass pawns, I can see. I see pass pawns.
Those are
I see pass pawns. It's interesting. So that's what happens. Magnus attacks. So this is
Rook c1, bishop to e4.
Rook c4.
Rook to c4 could be an idea. Which he played it from your mouth to his hands.
King e3. C2 check bishop d3. Yes, he wants to play. Still. Rook c5. Now the pawn is
trying
hanging.
to take on f5. King d2 maybe.
King d4. No, that doesn't sound good to me. Just something
for white or
for black.
For
yes,
black.
No, pawns are advancing. Too dangerous.
6 seconds for Gukesh.
No, that's the.
Seems like Magnus is taking over.
King e5. c2. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Magnus did say something at the beginning of this show. He says, I need to beat them while I can still do it, you know?
Yep.
Congratulations, Magnus.
Yeah.
Just an incredible
Yeah.
game.
No, when Magnus plays, with his hand, he's unbeatable. So because he always finds the right square for the right piece. So that's no doubts about it. I think he plays very quickly, and this is all great moves. This is king center and bishop on e4. So yes, yeah.
This is the last game that we just had our eyes on, Arjun versus Vincent. It seems to have been a draw, but I do want to ask you about one player in particular, the leader of the tournament, Wei. Because
how did he play?
He won.
Yeah, he won again.
Yes.
Beat who was
Kirill Shevchenko.
Yes.
Kirill Shevchenko, yes.
Yeah.
Just an incredible, balanced player. He's just not making a lot of mistakes.
No. This is what was very impressive is how he survived against Magnus. I mean, survive against Magnus in this kind of a game. Again, he finds all the best chances. So again, very very impressive. Very. Somehow, I wasn't disappeared, but he just, he was a rising star, and then I don't know. I didn't see much of him.
He took a break. Yeah.
Yes, he took a break, and now very very balanced, and performance rapid and in Blitz.
Do you feel like he's almost a successor to Ding right now, coming from China?
It looks so. Again, Ding is not doing much these days, so a lot of people believe that he will lose poorly against Gukesh. I don't think so. I think it will be much more competitive than most people think. But clearly, again, this Ding, you can hardly imagine Ding being a future of Chinese chess. While I think it's the way he plays here is extremely impressive. So, by the way, what's happening in this game?
Let's take a look, in fact.
Yeah.
So it did look that Kirill was doing quite well.
Yeah, it's because when we left, it was okay.
Yes, bishop
Oh,
d3.
he lost the
Now,
pawn.
Lost the pawn.
A lost position, but then his pawn went on d7.
Yes, let's see when that happens.
So how will that happen?
D6.
This
Ooh,
is
d7, okay.
I could see pawn was on d7.
Now it's looking good, b6.
Wait. Yes, okay. This is the moment. Yes, h5. Could he play here rook d6?
Let's see. Maybe
Ah,
not
no.
because of g4 first.
Ah,
check.
g4 check. Yes. Sorry, this check. I just forgot about this. Because otherwise, queen g5 were winning. Yes, so that's why. Yes.
But it seems like g4. in
G4,
fact.
yes, maybe G4 first.
Maybe it's the
G4
best
first,
one,
yes.
yeah.
And after H4, then if H4, then rook D6.
Now rook d. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes.
So this is subsequence there. I saw this.
And
Yes.
if you take, let's just show
with
everybody.
F6 and then F6, and that's
F6
that's
just
it.
finishes the
Yeah.
game. Beautiful.
So it's still when it's a pawn on D7, you can't do bad. And he missed it. So there's just G4, of course. Yeah, that's.
How do you train that intuition? You just seeing this whole pattern. We know that Gukesh is nowadays mostly a classical player. He enjoys playing classical chess. He's struggling in rapid and blitz. How do you develop that intuition?
I don't know. It's certain things that are beyond my ability to explain. So just sometimes I know it's the right square. So some players have absolutely unique intuition. For instance, Magnus. I think there's Karpov. You have Capablanca, just Smyslov. Sometimes probably Kramnik, but it's less. Some players just say they're absolutely intuitive players. This is the right piece, this is the right square. So my intuition is different kind. So it's not about right square. It's more about just conceptual. So here I can sacrifice something. I just can make things more dynamic. But I don't know. I'm struggling to actually find a simple explanation why I know that's the right square to go.
And again, I want to come back to my initial question. We have so much new talent. We have Gukesh as a full tour participant, Nodirbek, Abdusatorov as well. How do you see the Grand Chess Tour playing out this year?
Look, I think it's very important. We are around for quite a while now, and we are seeing now the generational change. So we began with events where Magnus was the youngest. Yes. Now we gradually move to the moment where he's the oldest. So I think it's great. And also we can see that it's quite a change in geography. So the chess moved to Asia. So this is, and I'm not here to explain. Just it's in some scientific terms, but also when you look at American chess, the top players are American Chinese or American Indians. So it's probably it's somehow it probably reflects the global changes as well. So, but what's important, chess is moving along with overall progress.
Gary, always a pleasure to have you in the studio. Go enjoy the games.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Gary. Guys, back.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Gary, for sharing your thoughts. Generational change indeed, as we were witnessing Magnus Carlsen, the oldest player on tour. Like, what? Are you kidding me? And we've got the standings as we just completed our round 7. And Wei Yi is been outstanding.
Absolutely, 2.5
Wow.
point lead over Magnus Carlsen. And Pragnananda remains in 3rd place with 14.5 points. Arjun Erigaisi, well, his winning streak has calmed down somewhat, and he's on 13 points, and Jan Krzysztof Duda is on 12.
Still impressive in 4th position. Tell us about the pairings for this, the penultimate. It went past, didn't it?
It did.